The Rebbe explained that through the level of the Meya, which is Keser, we can reach the Gilui of Ma, of the Etzem HaNeshama. That the Etzem HaNeshama should be his Galus. And that comes be Milamaila through Meya. Meya Brachas. The Rebbe spoke also about Torah. So the Rebbe says, so based on this, we can say the ma umeya yesh bekol echad mehem maila. In each one of ma versus meya, there is a maila in ma, and there's a maila in meya. The zeh shehama hu behelem. The fact that ma is hidden, the etzem of the neshama, in order to bring about that the helem of the ma, that it should be revealed, because we are bringing down meya through the meya brachas, through the level of 100, through the level of keser, oir shelamaylo mishtalshalus. That's a oir which is higher than hishtalshalus, the level of keser. Humipnei hamayla shebemeya legabe ma. That is because there is an advantage in the meya with regards to the ma, and that's why the meya has the power to be megale the ma. Belochein loshen ma moide al dover kotten, and that's why the loshen ma what points to a small item. Umeya hu shleimus hamispar, and meya is the complete number, kinalsi base. That's the mila of meya, which is complete, over ma, which is small. Abalidoch, but on the other hand, that's the mila of meya over ma. But on the other hand, zeh sha'oir shalamaylo mihishtalshalus meya. The fact that the oir of the Maila Mishtalshus Meya comes down revealed below in order to wake up, to arouse, and to reveal the Madan Neshama. Hu mitzad ha-Maila shebema legabe Meya. That is because there is an advantage in the Ma to the Meya. That's why the oir comes down. And once the oir is megale, the ma, the oir, the meya becomes on a higher level. Vayidei hamshochas bechinas meya leoir hama, through bringing down, drawing down the level of meya in order to arouse the ma. Mitoisef ilu gam bechinas meya. So there is also added an advantage in the level of Meya Kedalkama Simen Sivchas Tes, as later on in Sivchas Tes. We'll see. So there's a Maila in Meya because that's Shlemus, that's higher than Hishtalshalus, and it has the ability to wake up that level of Ma of the Neshama, and that's why Meya is the whole number. It's hundreds. And ma shows on a minimum. But on the other hand, the fact that the oir comes down to wake up the ma, and then through the fact that the meya brings about the ma, the revelation of the ma, then the meya itself gets an advantage, a level of meya, as the Rebbe will explain later on. Hey, Yuvan ze al pi amevur ba maimer divra maschil ze shebehemshech tef reishaim beis terav. Understand, according to the maim, what's explained the maimer that opens up with the same dibur hamaschil of Ata Yisrael Ma Hashem Alikecha, and in the hemshech of terav, שהחילוק בין עיר הממלא לעיר הסובב הוא גם בשורשם לפני הצמצום. That have the difference between the עיר הממלא and the עיר הסובב, it's not only the way it comes down after the tzimtzum, we have the light of the עיר הממלא, and then we have the עיר הסובב, but that comes down in the world, which is soivev, the world, but we also have them b'shorshim lifnei hatzimtzum. Before the tzimtzum, it's not the pshat that before the tzimtzum was just one oir ein sof. Before the tzimtzum, there's a shaydish for the oir hasoivev, the oir that comes down in a level of makif of the world. Then there's the oir that comes down in a level of pnimim and mali. These two oiras have separate roots in the oir sof in lifnei hatzimtzum. There is a root from Mimale and there's a root for Sefer. The fact that the oir hakav, which is the Mimale kolamim, oir ha-Mimale, mislabish bekelim, that it dresses up in the kelim, it's not only because it comes down through the tzimtzum, but also the root of the kav, the root of the memale. In the root, and for a tzimtzum, there's an oir which is in the level of gavul. What does it mean that before the tzimtzum that there is gavul over there? It says the zehu shegam lifnei hatzimtzum yesh esas sfiras hagnuzis. Because also this is the fact that before the tzimtzum there is the 10 spheres that are hidden. That means that oil has some gavul to it. So what does it mean if it also has a level of gavul? How is that different from the oir ha-memale? We're saying this is lifnei hatzimtzum. The difference is if it's open or hidden. The elo shelifnei hatzimtzum, before the tzimtzum hagavul shaboy hu behela. The gavul that's in the oir is hidden, as is firas genuzes. But there is gavul there too, but it's hidden. After the gavul that's in the oir shelifnei hatzimtzum comes revealed through the tzimtzum, so then biyicholte lislabish bekelim, he can dress up in kelim. It's not just because the oil went through the tzimtzum that he can dress up in the kelim. The Rebbe Rashab explains in the Hemshech Ayin Beis, the reason why it can come down in a way of memale in the gavul is because already in lifnei tzimtzum it has gavul, it has the eses firas hagnuzis. So that's why the oil that comes through the tzimtzum biyicholte lislabish bekelim. How do we say that the oil lifnei hatzimtzum? How do we say that it's gavul, that it has in it gavul? The gavul, when we say that the oil is mein hamoir and is connected, the moir is no gavul. So how does it have gavul? Va'ata al zeh she'oir zehu bebchinas gavul. What is the reason that light is, that oir is in a level of gavul? Av shegeder ha'oir hu shehu davuk b'ha'etzem u'mein ha'etzem. Even though the definition of oir is that it is connected to the essence and it is similar to the essence. So it's just like the moir has no gavul, and this is the oir me'ein ha'moir, and it's an oir which is connected to the etzem, and it's similar to the etzem. How does it get gavul? Why is that gavul? Kinyonei shel oir zeh hu lehoir es ha'olamas. Because the idea of this oir, the oir which comes down later on in a gavul, to begin with, what is the oir? The oir is to shine the worlds. It's not there is a level of oir which is just expressing the above. It's not a purpose. It's not for doing something. Here, this oir shines, me'ein hamoir, but it's coming down in order to dress up, is to illuminate the world. So that's the level of gavul. This is the difference between the oir habligvul, which is hashoresh the oir hasevev, the oir shebebchinas gavul. The oir hasevev, which is the oir habligvul, which is the root of oir hasevev, and the oir shebebchinas gavul, hashoresh the oir hamemali. What's the chilik? The oir habligvul is just reflection of the moir. There's no purpose there. The oir hagvul is to shine the world. So oir habligvul hu loy bichdei lahoyir. The light of bligvul, the shodesh of seviv, is not in order to illuminate. Elagilu etzem is just revealing the essence. There's no purpose to illuminate. There's no oilamos to want to illuminate, to want to make them light. So they're just a reflector. Now, can we say that it just comes out like that? So mainly if you say the sun shines, there's the kadur hashemesh, you have the ball, the globe of the sun automatically shines. There's no, it reflects. If the sun is there, it reflects. So the level of the bligvul, the oir habligvul, the Eibishter, the moir, it shines, but we can't really say it by the Eibishter, because the sun has the shine of the sun doesn't have a choice. The sun is there. The sun shines. Can't say that because there is the atzmus, so therefore there is the moir, there has to be oir. He's not mukhrach moir. So it must be that it also has a purpose. Vagam, this is what Rebbe explains now. Shagam gilu zeh, even the gilu of bligvul, which is not to illuminate the world. Hu bishvil eize kavona, it's still for some sort of intent. Because you can't say shari l'mayla and shaykh hechrech chas v'sholem. Because above, you can't say that it has to. Like we would say, like by the sun is there, it shines. So since there has to be a choice, the Eibishter wants it to shine. So why is there the oir? Here we're saying it just shines. There's no intent to illuminate anything. So why is it shining? Hakavon begilu oir zehi. So what is the kavon and the oir? Abligvul hishayiyah gilui kozeh sheunyonei huloi lahoyer eligilu etzem. The intent is itself that there should be a oil that is not there to illuminate anything, but just to reveal the etzem. That's the kavanah, to be gilu etzem. So in that oil, because it's the oil habligvul, it doesn't fit that in that oil there should be any measure and limitation. There's no eses sviras gam behelam. There's no even eses sviras hagenuzis in the oil habligvul. And even after the oir habligvul comes down in the oir hasovev, and then it is sovev in the world, it shines in the kelim and the world. He doesn't come up dressed up in them, but just surrounding them. That's the meaning of sovev. That's the oir habligvul. But the oir the light which comes down to illuminate the world. Even though that oir is also connected to the etzem, and it's similar to the etzem, but yet it has a limitation, it has agbola, it has a seshfiras agnosis. The reason why that oir emanates from the moir is because of the world. That means the worlds are take up space because it's coming there to illuminate. So they have some sort of existence in that oil. He is there in order to bring light to them. And therefore, gam kemoishu lifnei hatzimtzum, even as this oil is in the level of blik vul, in level of lifnei hatzimtzum, before the tzimtzum, before the kav, the shoyrish of the kav, so oz eine shayach sheyoir ba'elumis, before it actually goes through the tzimtzum, then it cannot yet shine in the world. It needs to actually go through the tzimtzum. But still, yesh be'behelem mididav agbola. In a hidden way, it has the limitation, it has the measure and limitation, as seshfiras agnosis. And after the tzimtzum, after the kab, and after it comes down in the kelim and the world, unlike the oira sovev, which remains b'chinas makif, this dresses up in the kelim because already in the shoyrish of the kab it had the essence of the midah v'agbola. So the Maimer explains that this is understood by explaining the difference in the koyches hanefesh between the koyach harotzin, which is the level of seviv, and the other koyches which come down in a pnimi. Explains in the Maimer the hamoshul al zeh b'koyches hanefesh ba'odom. Now, what would be the example for this in the powers of the soul that is in the human? That we see godliness from my flesh. Is the difference between rotz and the other koyches. The fact that all koyches dress up in the limbs of the body, the powers of the soul dress up in the various different limbs of the body. Dugmas oir hamemalish mislabish ba'ilmas, which is similar to the oir that fills, that dresses up in the world. This dresses up in the kelim, in the evorim, in the body. V'horotzin hu makif es kol ha'ivore haguf b'shaveh. The rotzin surrounds all the limbs of the body equally. Dugmas hasoivev, that's similar to the level that soivev in the world. Ooh. So what's the difference? Because of the root of the koyches and the root of the rotzah. Kikol ha-koyches kam lifnei shemislapshim beivore haguf. All the koyches, even prior to dressing up in the limbs of the body, hey mitzias shemachutz lenefesh. They are an entity which is outside of the nefesh. They're not the nefesh itself. They're a mitzias which is besides and outside of the soul. And that's why when they extend and they come down into the limbs of the body, they dress up in them. But when we talk about the rotzin, there is no entity by himself. All what it is to move and extend the soul. But rotzin is not an entity by himself, and rotzin is, he tilts and pulls the soul. It's not separate. It is connected, that it moves the soul. And even when he extends into the limbs of the body, the rotzin doesn't dress up in them, but it only surrounds them. He surrounds over the limbs of the body. And then the Maimer continues. The Rebbe brings down another part in the Maimer, which the Rebbe is going to actually explain that what is so much. Why does he connect this? What's the connection of it? But the Rebbe brings down now what the Rebbe Rashab says in the Maamer over there in Ein Beis. That similar is the Moshel above. This is the difference between Torah and mitzvahs. The Torah shehi chachmos shalakadosh baruch hu, Torah which is Hashem's wisdom. It's like the koichas hanefesh. This is the koich of sort of kaviyachol from the mitzias kaviyachol. This is the wisdom of Hashem. It's like a koich pnimi, and that's the chochma. That's Torah. Hamshachosu lamata ba'odam alimda he b'pnimius. The way it comes down below the person that learns it, it's an inside. The Torah is in my inside. It's in a pnimius. It's like memalikolam. In the mitzvahs, which are the rotzen, they are gilui ha'atzmos. They are revealing what the atzmos. Well, they're not a entity. They're just revealing the atzmos. Hamshachosum lamata ba'odam hamakayim es mitzvah. The way they extend below to the person who observes the mitzvah. What kind of an oil? What does he get? It's in a way of surrounding and obscure. The light of the mitzvah isn't felt by the person. A mitzvah also refines the person. What are we saying? It doesn't come into the person. The zeshali de kiyum hamitzvahs. The fact that through observing the mitzvah, the person becomes refined. That's why one mitzvah will bring along another mitzvah because he became refined from the mitzvah. So he's on a higher level. But how does the mitzvah impact him if it doesn't? It's not in a pnimis. That's the impact of the oir of the mitzvah. It's not that the oir comes down. The impact of the oir of the mitzvah has that impact. But he doesn't feel the oir of the mitzvah itself. That it's like a makif. This is the same as the rotzen nefesh ha'odom. The rotzen is makif, but it impacts. That it impacts the body, so it doesn't mean that it dresses up in the body. Rotzen does not reveal; it impacts them, but it doesn't come down in them. It's not revealed; it remains in the level of makif. So yes, the mitzvahs do make a zichur. That's an impact, but it's not that the rotzen itself, the mitzvah itself, the order of the mitzvah itself, remains in a way of makish. It's not felt by the person. And then in the Maamer, in the end, ועתה ישראל, אלקיך שואל מעמך when he explains over there in the end, but the meaning of אלקיך שואל מעמך tikra the bigdei sheizgale harotzin, the mitzvah atzmai. In order to get the rotzin, the mitzvah, that oir of the rotzin, the mitzvah itself, not just the pula, who al yidei birchas hamitzvahs. So the bracha, the mitzvah, gives you the rotzin itself. That's normally it's obscure, it's makif. The bracha brings it down. And that's the meya. That's why a person has to make 100 brachas, meya b'keser rotzen. Ba'al yidei meya brachas. Through the 100 brachas, especially b'frata the birchas mitzvahs. And the mitzvahs are we said rotzen. The rotzen Hashem, the makif. So the birchas ha-mitzvahs, the bracha, you make 100 brachas. That includes all kinds of brachas, but especially birchas ha-mitzvahs, nimshach ha-rotzen begilui, that brings down the rotzen in a revealed way. So over there, the Maamer explains that the same difference, the way we have the impact between the difference between Rotzen and the Koiches Pnimim. The Koiches Pnimim are in a inner way, and the Rotzen is in Makif. And even the Hamshoche, that it comes down, it's only Makif Aleim, but there is a Pu'ula. And the same thing he says, there is a difference between Torah mitzvahs. That Torah comes down in an inner, like the Mamalakul Almim. Mitzvahs are a way of Makif, that the Rotzen is not Megala with them. How do you be Megala the Rotzen, the Etzem Rotzen? That's through the Birchsa Mitzvahs. Zayin. So we need to understand the L'chayra, Harei, and the Makif of Pnimi, Amavur Ba'Maimer. The idea of Makif and Pnimi that the Maimer explained, we brought the Moshel Rotzen V'Seichel, that Rotzen is Makif and Seichel is Pnimi. Who Oir HaMamala V'Oir HaSeiver. Why is it important here for the Maimer that the Rebbe Rashab brings down to explain the difference between Torah and mitzvahs? This part that the Maimer says, Maimer, that the same thing is between Torah and mitzvahs, we're talking over here about Makif Upnimi, the Eir Mamalakul Almim, Seivukul Almim, and we gave a Moshel of Rotzen V'Seichel. Why do we bring in Torah and mitzvahs? So the Rebbe is saying the explanation by Hagdim, by introducing the Zeh Shehabriya B'Shvil HaTorah B'Shvil Yisrael. When we say that the Eibishter created the world was for the Torah and for the Yidden, Hakavona Bazeh, Rak Libriya Soilu. We're not just talking about the world was created for the Yidden and Torah. Elogam L'chol HaGiluyim. All Giluyim, all revelations, even the highest revelations, Gam La Giluyim Shel Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Also the Giluyim of Lifnei HaTzimtzum are for the Yidden and for Torah. Ba'afilu lehagilui the oir habelikvul shel gilu ha'etzem. Even the gilu oir belikvul, where we said is not for a purpose, is not to illuminate, which is the gilu ha'etzem, is also for Torah Yidden. Shara kavona b'chol hagiluyim, because the intent in all of the giluyim b'rdei shal yodem yachkach b'riyas ha'olam, that through them later on there will be a creation of the world. And even though there is two oirs, we said, the oir which is lahoira olam, and the oir which is just a reflection or meinam oir, but even that, v'gama gilu she'ena lahoira olam, even the gilu which is not to illuminate the world, the gilu ha'etzem hu, but that is gilu ha'etzem shekach ola b'ritzoynoi yizbarech, because this is the way Eibishter's will was, she'oir ha'shayich la'olamais, Yumshach me'ha'oir shalamayla mishaychas lo'olamis. That the oir which is connected to the world should be extend from the oir which is higher than shaychas to the world. So the end of the day, even the gilu that is not lahoiras oilamais is there, so that from it will extend the oir hashaychas le'olamis. And since the world is created for the Torah and Yidden, meaning the very first gilui is also for Yidden, because it is for the world. That was the kavanah, and the kavanah is that the oir the gilui should come from the oir which is higher than gilui. Nimtzo shegam kol hagiluyim and b'shvil ha'Torah b'shvil Yisrael. So it comes out that all the giluyim are for Torah and for the Yid. So al pizeh yesh loymar. So based on this, we can say that tama pnimi al zeh shenimshru shnei hagiluyim l'sefer mali. What's the inner reason? Why were these two revelations extended of sefer mali, which is Gilu ha'etzem and Gilu shalahoyra olamis? As we said before, in the source, in Lifnei HaTzimtzum, you have the Gilu HaEtzem and the Gilu Shaloyra Elmas, which are the source, the Shoydish for Sevev Kalalmim and Maluk Kalalmim. Umipnei shebetoyra v'Yisrael yesh dugma shnei inyonim elu, because in Torah and Yidden there is these two aspects. And that's why it was set up in such a way of Pnimius and Makif, Torah mitzvahs. The Torah is the Shnei Inyanim elu b'Torah hem Torah mitzvahs. In Torah, these are Torah mitzvahs, as the Rebbe explains that Torah is Pnimius and mitzvahs is Makif. Ubi Yisrael ba'yid hem seichel v'rotzen. By Yid, they have the level seichel is Pnimius and rotzen is Makif. The zeh shebenefesh ha'odom. You're going to say this is something which all human beings have, these two ideas, Seichel and Rotzen. So here we're saying, Shvil Yisrael, how is it unique for the Yidden? The zeh shebenefesh ha'odom yesh Seichel u'midas. The fact that we say that the soul of man has Seichel u'midas, and it also has Rotzen, u'beikir b'Yisrael. So that's mainly by a Yid, the Seichel u'midas. Odom atem kruyim odom. You are, Pasuk calls them odom. You're called odom. Mezenis tafsel gam came b'musoylem. This evolved also musoylem. So it's mainly by the Yidden, these two, because the Yidden are the reason for all Giluyim, and the original Giluyim come in a way of Sevev Mamale, Gilu Ha'etzem and Gilu Shalom. We have, and it's for the Yid, because in Torah we have Torah mitzvahs, and in the Odom by Yid we have Seichel Rotzen. So based on this we can say, the fact that it brings down in the Maimer the Moshul from Seivim Mali, from the Rotzen and Seichel Odom, and then it continues explaining the difference between mitzvah and Torah. Who gam b'chdei lerames. It's also in order to hint to us shahashoirish the shnei hagiluyim, the root of these two giluyim. Giluy ha'etzem v'giluy shel ha'ira olames. The giluy of the etzem and the revelation to illuminate the worlds. Similar to these two ideas by Torah and Yid. This adds to understand the advantage of these two revelations. It's not just that they're revealing Elokam Dugma Yonim the Torah of Yisrael, that they also have they're also an example to the aspects by Torah Yidin. By Torah Yidin there is also Gilu Etzem and Gilu Shalomas. Sai by Torah, sai by Yidin. Sheshor Shemu Ba'atzmus. Torah and Yidin are rooted in Atzmus. So these two oiris that we have are similar to the two aspects in Torah and the Yidin, which tells us that Torah and the Yidin are connected to Atzmus. And that adds to understand the advantage of these two Giluyim, because these are the elevations which are by Yid and in Torah, and they're connected to Atzmus. So based on that we can explain Zesha Yadua, that we know Sheyisarusa de Leila and Amsheches Ma'atzma Bichdei La'ira Yisarusa de Letato, that this arousal of above that comes on its own in order to that should bring about the Yisarusa de Letato. It's not the person, but that brings the person, so to arouse the person from below, That's from a place which is higher than where the Sarus del Tata can reach. So, but this needs to be explained. What does it mean the Sarus del Tata doesn't reach there? Because relative to that level, the bottom doesn't take place. So it doesn't consider, you can't reach there because that place where the Sarus del comes from, what you do lamata doesn't matter to this. It doesn't impact it. So therefore, you can't elicit it. We can add. The reason why the created being are not considered anything relative to that darga, the higher level of Sarus de Leila, who ki hasoivev, ki hashoidesh de soivev, shemimenu nimshechas Sarus de Leila zu, because the root of the soivev, from which this Sarus de Leila comes, from above, which comes the root of soivev. The root of soivev is the Sarus de Leila that comes to be made Sarus de Latata, that Mayot that brings the Maz, we said before, is the root in that root of Soivev, that's not for a purpose to light the world, illuminate the world. It's only Gilu Ha'etzem. So therefore, world does not count over there. It's not no Tfisas Mokim. So the question that everyone wants to know, since you can't reach there because there's no Tfisas Mokim, so how could there extend from there in a Sarusa de Le'ela in order to arouse the Sarusa de Latata, the Gilui of the Ma, of the Neshama, through the Meya, but how does it do it when there's no Tfisas Mokim? But based on the above, we can say when we're saying that the oir, which is the gilu ha'etzem, is similar to the same idea that a yid, that by a yid you have the koyach harotzen. And when we're saying that the gilu ha'etzem is b'shvil Yisrael, and so it's similar to the way a yid has it. That's the way the oid works. So then in that oid he senses that he's also b'shvil Yisrael. That's why from that oid, which is not, it's higher than having a lahoyer the oilumas. Oilumas don't tfisa smoking, but it senses the bishvil Yisrael that it was nivra oilam, and therefore it will bring down the Yisrusa de Leila to arouse the Yisrusa de Latata. Einachinami, the level of the Yisrusa de Latata, the level of the world, the neshama, the ma, it doesn't reach there. You can't reach the no tfisa smokim, but it's tfisa smokim into the idea that b'shul Yisrael, that this is all for the Yidden, and therefore it brings a hamshacha from Yisrus Leila to be made Yisrus Latata. Yes, lahoisif can add. The Rebbe mentioned this before, hinted to this. That through bringing down the Sarusa Leila to arouse Sarusa Tato, mitoisef Sarusa de Leila, this adds actually to the Sarusa de Leila, to that level of the Oir Shalifnei Simtsum, from which the Yerushalayim come, u'ba'mokim shememenu nimshechas Yerushalayim, from the place the Yerushalayim reaches. So the Rebbe explained, because the Rebbe Rasha brought the example, the way we have the two inyonim by a Yid, that Bishvil Yisrael, and you have, so that gives the Sarusa de Le'ela the feeling to want to come down to be Ma'ir. Otherwise, it's not understood. If the Sarusa de Tata doesn't reach there, why would the Sarusa de Le'ela want to come down to a place which is not Tefes Mokim? But because it senses the similarity that is Bishvil Yisrael, because it has the same by a Yid is the same idea, then it wants to come down to the Yid. And the Rebbe further adds another point here. The Rebbe makes another point here. Not only does the Oir Shalemailov from any Hagbolas come down to be Me'oira, the Isarusa de Latata of the Yid over here, that his Ma should be Begilui. But there is actually an additional advantage to the Oir Hablikvul, that it even goes and gets from a higher place than it normally does. Yesh lo'isik, da'idei hamshochas Isarusa de Leila, through the Yisrus Leila, extending to arouse the Yisrus Leila below, mitoisef ilui be Yisrus Leila. There is an advantage in the Yisrus Leila, ubehamokim, and the place and from the place from the where the Yisrus Leila comes, that there is an advantage in the Yisrus Leila through coming down to be Meir. Because when it comes down, it reveals more in the oir, I believe more the intent. V'gam zeh, its kavana is b'shvil Yisrael. That's why it is the oir that is revealed. V'gam zeh shu dugmas inyan shebi Yisrael, and also is that oil is similar to a Yid. Sheshorshim ba'atzmus. Yidden are rooted in atzmus, and the oil has a similarity, and he feels that. It's revealed by him that they're more the kavone, and also it's revealed that he's dugmas, that he's similar to the same as by a Yid, which is rooted in atzmus. Test. V'zehu ve'ato Yisrael mo goimer al tikra malameyo. And this is what the postgate is for mo, don't call it ma but meyo. The zeh sheich ksiv hu ma vakri umeyo. The fact that the written is ma, v'ato Yisrael mo, mem hey. Vakri, we pronounce it atro meyo Hashem, as the Medrash, as the Gemara says, vakri umeyo. The ksiv v'kri, the written and the pronounced name Helem Megilui, means the Helem, it's Ma, and then you read it, it's Gilui, who Kimeya hu hasoviv. Meya is soviv, ubeshorshoy, and the root of soviv, ha'oir de gilu ha'etzem. That's the oir gilu, it's Gilui. So that's all Gilui. Uma hu amad neshama shu behelim. Ma is the neshama which is behelim. Because when the neshama became a created being, hamash shebo behelim, the ma, the etzem of the neshama is hidden. So in order to reveal that, hu ayidei hamshochas b'chinas Meya is by bringing down the level of Meya, can also give over down the level of Kesed. V'hinei Helam zeh ulamata megilui. So that Helam is lower than Gilui. The Oir habligvul, Gilui ha'etzem, is a higher than the level of Ma, which is the Helam. Ba'pi ha'yedua, and based on what's known, sheksiv hu l'mayla mikri. So over here, the Ma is the lower level you need, and that's Gilui. It's a level, but there is another interpretation in which the Helam is higher than the Gilui. So the written is higher than the Kri. So what's written, the Ma, is higher. Yesh loimar, the Helam, the Hamad, and the Shomas, Shemerumas Bazeh, Shemau Aksiv, that this Helam of Ma of the Neshama, how is it hidden? Because it's written Ma. Is that the Neshama is rooted in the Helam Atzmi Ba'atzmus. And that's why it's Ma. And it's higher than the Gilui. Yesh lahoisif, the Zeh Shemeya, who akri shall aksiv the Mahu. So why is Meya the Kri of the Ksiv of Ma? Kayidei ha'amshocha the Meya lo'ir ha'ma. Because since Meya brings about Erdama, Nirgash by it feels Kenal Sivches, Shu Dugmas Vigilu Hamadi Israel, that is similar, and the revelation of Madi Eden. So he gets to a higher level. The Meya is Megale, the Ma, and that reaches the Gilui, the Meya, that he becomes Dugmas Vigilu Hamadi Israel, the Bishvil Yisrael, as the Rebbe said before. So, Poshet, the level of Ma is Helam lower, and the level of Meya is Gilui. That's Gilui, and this is Helam. The creation of the Neshama, the Etzem is Behelam. But we have to say, because the Kri is lower than the Ksiv, it's talking about the Helam Ha'atzmi, not the Helam when it was created as a Nivra, but the Helam Ha'atzmi of the Neshama. And through the Meya, Megala, the Helam Ha'atzmi, there's an advantage of the Meya as well, that it feels that he's similar to the Gila of Madi Yisrael. Similar, it's also by Yidden himself. Through the neshama illuminating the body, in which the body there is the choosing of atzmus. The toisef ilu neshama, this adds an advantage to the neshama. So through the neshama illuminating the body, the neshama gets an advantage. Similar to the future to come, the neshama will get fed from the body, meaning it turns around. Instead of the neshama illuminating the body will feed the neshama. It may be the will that very soon the promise will be fulfilled. Those who rest in the dust will get up and sing. And the Bal Hailu, the Rebbe, his father, the Bal Hailu of Chafov, amongst them, we will all go quickly, upright to our land, the coming Tzidkenu, and very soon.